Okay, so after a little playing around with Spectroid, as recommended by the Voron team, I've come to the conclusion that I've come close enough that I should have everything the way it needs to be. But what I'm going to do as well, I just need to find it real quickly, is, yeah, there it is. I just need to get a particular box that has a particular tool. And it's something I won a while back, which I think will be very useful in this thing. I know there's another one on the market, which I will probably cover in another video. But for this particular build, I figured here's a great opportunity to test this aspect. Now, this is the FYSETC belt tension tool that I'm going to bring out. And I did a video on this one a while back, and I'm just going to cover that again, because I think the one that's closest here is to just, you know, the tension we need. So I'm going to get this, there we go. Now this goes in here. Did I get that on the right side? Yes, I did. So that has to go in there like that. There we go. So it's just that, yeah. Now, turn it on. And of course it's going to tell me my battery's low because I haven't used it in a while. Okay, so I get to change that battery. Well, that's another one. When you're not going to use it, any belt tension tool that you get, take the battery out, because otherwise, when you need it, you're not going to have it. So, let's just see, there we are. I've got a little bag of batteries here. Unfortunately, I believe there are some of those in here. I just need to find them real quickly, and this is a little embarrassing. But oh well, that goes. There we are. There's the ones I need. Come on, get out. Maybe they're not. Darn it. Let me just look through here. Because I did go through these not long ago, and I got rid of a bunch that were leaking. And I just found another set, which probably a totally different type of batteries, but oh well. Those are those. Yeah, okay. Oh, that's the ones. Hold on. Just found it. They're in the other card. Yep, that's it. That will do, but I'm definitely going to have to pick up some more. There we go. Nice and tension. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, anytime you're going to use whether it's a digital caliper or one of these belt tension tools, if it's a digital one and you're not going to use it for any length of time, take your batteries out. Otherwise you're just begging to get exactly what I just did. So that will be that. Let's just throw that down there. Okay, now, so looking at that, we're going to zero it. Now this is going to be tight, so I'm going to try this here if I can. Actually, let's do it on the outside. With this particular trick, it's getting the same reading basically in each case. that in there. This might be a little tougher than I thought for this particular. I think this is more suited for one of the big ones, but I wonder if an adaptation can be made. Yeah, I don't think that's going to fit in there. I think this is going to be only suitable for big printers, which is a bit disappointing, but I'll definitely be feeding that back to them, because a smaller one that can also be used on like the Voron Zero, I think that would be a beneficial thing. So yeah, that's that lesson learned. So let me see if the other one I have will actually fit this, because if it will, then I can show you that I did spectrally, you know, from the sound of them. They said in the guide to go for 110 hertz, which gives approximately 2 pounds of tension, you know, as in 2 pounds in weight, like equivalent for pulling tension. Yeah, but let me just see if this other one will fit in there, because that will be interesting. This is another one I have that I acquired through a very weird circumstance not long ago, but yeah, okay. So this one works slightly different, and let's see if that'll work in there, because if that'll work in there, I'll be over the moon. Yeah, it looks like it will. Okay, so what we want is that right there. Now, by getting it like that and then hitting 0, yeah, when you drop it down, the difference is that number. So 3.42 is the distance it went for. I'm going to do that again. Let me just see if I can angle the camera a little bit so you can see how I'm doing that. So I'm going to do like this, get it on the belt, get it to 0, and there's just a little bit of tension being created by my fingers obviously wobbling it about, so you might have to do a little bit. Now it's at 0. The difference 3.24. yeah, so flip that around and let's do this side and see if we come up. This should ideally go to 0 if they're equal. Okay, so there's a little bit of difference. Let's see if I can right. That went way too low. So let's see if I can get that. There. Now I can say that those belts are exactly the same tension. Because going from 3.27 let's just lift that back. And I can just press on this a little bit so that the tension is released. It's about as close as it's going to get. I'll just double check it against the other one. So we're at 3.26. Right. This one I can leave it on the bottom of there. That's a little bit too much, so again, since that's in a positive number, we're tightening the belt to make it 0. Right. That is about as close to perfect as it's going to get. And that's that. So it seems that design works better in that regard. So I'll be feeding that back to them at FYSETC about the belt tension tool, that they may want to look at that concept so that it can be used for XY belts. You know, or as you might want to call them, AB belts, but at the same time be able to use for Z-axis belts in the same regard. But that completes that circumstance. Now I believe I should be able to go on. This was page 142, and I should now be able to go ahead and lock down these motors so that they don't move, and because I really wouldn't hate to have to retension that again. So that's the rear motor B. That's that one. There's that. There's that. And there's that. Okay. That's all that done. Now, next page. Looks like we're finally getting to put the print bed together. So, I need to check that. Yep. They would like me to get these, and I'm going to be honest, I've seen a couple of different articles regarding this build as well. These are tiny. They're not exactly ideal. But this is what comes with the kit, but I will be changing them. I'm just saying. So we need 3 of these. One, two, three. There we go. And we're gonna protect my desk surface or table surface. And let's go ahead and do some heated inserts again. So there's that. There's this one. And then I think once we have the heated bed in place, I think we're going to call that the stopping point, because I do need to balance some time for my lovely wife, who is so patient with me and 3D printing. She lets me get on with it, but at the same time she does need to have my attention periodically as well. So very thankful that she does let me do these things. Okay, and that's the first one, just about there. Needs to go a little bit further. There we go. That's it. That's that one. Sinking in nicely. There we go. That's 2. And the last one. after a while you kind of get pretty good at this with a bit of practice, where again you don't have to use any special things to hold the soldering iron. Okay, so that's our, yeah, okay, so there's our 3 little knobs. Looks like there was a little bit of melt there, but not too bad. Right. So, front of the bed, let's go ahead and pull out the heated bed. Let's just leave it in the box. But it's now time to get that bad boy out. And that's on my lower tier down here, if I remember correctly. Yep, there it is. Here's our little box of tricks. Oh. Close that back down. Okay, let's just see here. Get this back where you can see everything again. Yeah, this is what the price you pay for not having a professional studio, you know. But it is what it is, yeah. There we go. Okay. This is going to be a lot of fun. This is making me get excited to a degree. Okay. So here is our heated bed. Now apparently the orientation is like this. Yeah. So magnetic sheet, they're saying please put that on first. So let's get the bed unwrapped. Now this looks like it's been kept incredibly clean. So I'm going to try and not mess that up. Let me see which side that unwraps from here. Okay, you know what? There we go. That's it. That's what we needed. Okay, and this is the side of the bed I need to be working with anyway. That's it. I wonder if they have this like this for the 2.4 beds. They are much, much larger. Now, I'm going to try and grab that from the edges, because what we don't want is any messy fingerprints, because there's an adhesive that goes on here with this in the form of the sticker. So clean it with isopropyl alcohol or similar cleaner. I've got some lovely screen cleaner which is great for this, and because it's alcohol based, it does a really good job. There we go. So we're going to clean the bed with that, just to make sure there's no grease or anything like that on it. Now this is aluminium, so it's not going to rust as per se. That's that. Now let's grab the little magnetic sheet which came with the magnetic bed. This is going to be fun because it doesn't look okay. The holes in the magnetic sheet are for tool access. This one does not seem to have that problem, which is an interesting point. But it does mean that I might want to cut those out. Yeah, I think I'm going to want to do that. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and get this on there. There we go. And we're going to place that right here. Where's that little card? There we go. So with that, I want to get that as close to perfect as possible. There we go. That's it. This should make sure it has a good, nice seal against the actual bed. What is under there? Now that's upsetting, because see that little bump? That means something, somehow or another, just got under there. So before the 3M adhesive has a chance to really grip, let me just see what that is. It's amazing how much stuff is in the air. Right there, wherever that is. It might just be a particle of metal. You would have thought that would have just come off with what I was doing earlier, but there we go. Oh, that's better, nice and smooth. Oh, it just shifted it. Okay, yeah, you don't want anything like that when and this would suggest that I probably needed to do a much more thorough cleaning, there we go, of that surface. And if you can get a nice shiny light, that will help immensely, because if you can see even one little dimple, it is something you definitely don't want. There we go, that's nice and good. You want that as flat as possible. Yeah. So with that, we're going to just quickly give ourselves a little guide as to where those holes are, so that I can use a razor knife and ultimately cut those out a little bit. There's one. There we go. Now, get rid of that. Just going to put this on here for a minute. There we are. Yeah, you can see where the edges of it are. And there's that one. And there's that one. So with that, I'm going to grab my razor knife, throw that in the bin, and I'm just going to trim out just those sections with the razor knife. And you'll see here I'm just doing it here. I'm going to do this, slightly off the camera because I need to be able to see clearly on this. Okay, that needs to get locked. There we go. That would have been really incredibly useful if I had pre-cut that, as far as the holes are concerned, I must admit. But, there's quite a bit of kit here, so I think I'll need to get down to some more sharp blade again with this. Just going to turn off my dryer, because that'll be dry now. Here we go. Alright, looks like it's going to be time for a new razor knife too. So, right in there, that's better. And what you don't want to do is end up slipping and going right across it, if you can help. or opening your finger up. That's it. It's obviously a wider hole than I expected, but if we can make enough room for the bolt to go through, then I'm happy with that. Nearly there. Just gonna because if you use a starting hole using a razor knife, it would get a lot easier to make the rest of the hole and have it be decent and not leave little particles behind which could cause you issues later. And, that's trimming much nicer now. There we go. Not exactly pretty, but getting there. There we go. That's starting to work. Just work my way around the perimeter of the hole. I think I now understand why they had, after reading a little bit in the guide before, why they had those M3 shims that were 1 millimeter thick. I believe that's where these come in. It's going to be on this bit. There we go. Right, that's that one. So we got one decent hole. Let's see if we can get a second one here. Let me see if I can make this just a little bit easier by putting more of a dent where the hole is. I think that'll make it just a little bit easier. There we go. And now just work the blade in. So if you have this kit, you can see how I'm doing it. I'll be able to similarly, or had I thought about it, I probably could have got one of those single hole punches if it makes about the right size of hole, because it looks like about the size of a hole punch. But this is definitely one of those take your time things, because otherwise you're going to either ruin your magnetic sheet or you're going to open your fingers. Now, depending on your age, also, if somebody has bought you this for Christmas, a parent, maybe, and you're underage for the ability to buy a knife, you may want to have mom or dad do this one. Just have them take their time and trim that out nicely. This way you don't open your fingers. go. That's not bad for a, you know, by hand, considering. And I'm sure they have like a machine with a circular tube that has a sharp edge or something that does this, but hey ho. Right, nice again, and then just right in there. There we go. And then try to go around the edges of the hole. There we go. Almost perfect. Almost. Just gotta trim this out flush now. Nearly there. That's nearly there. And you can see it's very magnetic stuff, so you don't want any of these bits left behind to put a dimple underneath your print surface whatsoever. That's it. It's crude, it's ugly, but it's not bad. I would definitely have said it would have been nice if they had pre-cut those holes for us, but I can say I also got that absolutely perfectly square on the top of there, so I'm really pleased with that result. Yep, absolutely. Okay, with that being done, what do we got next? Magnetic sheet done. Right, so heater application, and again, this time we're going to flip it over, and again we get out our cleaning solution. I think I actually saw a tool on printables that was supposed to help you with this centering it. Just make sure this time, because this is a side you definitely want really good contacts to the surface. I'm not going to do the wiring side of some of this because that's just going to be more than what I wanted to do tonight, but there we go. Okay, so that's interesting because they're showing an extra hole that is not on this bed, but we want to center this, and I think I'm going to get my little dusting tool while I'm at it, just like a cleaning tool that I have. There we go. Okay, so ideally we want this to go out the rear of this, so we want it kind of like right about there, roughly. In fact, it looks like, if I'm right, the center point should put it where you have the corners pointing at that with the tip pointing here. So I think I can nail this one pretty good. So with that, I'm just going to make some space here and just double check myself. Let's just put that back out of the way. And it looks like the way to center this is actually to get these corners to line up with those holes while the tip of your warning goes there. So I'm going to make myself just a little mark here. So I can see for the alignments. That's it. That should be enough to give me the concept of alignment. Now, time to take this off of here. There we go. That's it. And for those that wondered what the underside of a silicone pad heater looks like, there you go. You've seen it here first. Unless, of course, you've done this build and you've already seen it. Right. So, there's my little marks. Now, some manufacturers have suggested sealing the edge with a little bit of RTV high temperature silicone. That might not be a bad idea at some point, or if you want to put some thermal insulation, that's an option too. There we go. Myself, you can use like printed thermal insulation that they sell as an option, or if you want to be really crazy, you can do it with something else, I'm sure. There's that. Okay. That feels like it's one of the clips for the heating, but it could be that they already have, because that looks about the same size as one of those thermal cutoff switches, but I'm not going to assume that it is. I am going to try and make sure that this is well in there. This is actually one of those cards that come with mobile phone screen protectors. Okay, here we go. Right, that's that. Now, they're talking about the wiring for the thermistor, which does come with this, or I mean the thermal fuse. That is something I'm probably going to be putting in because it comes with it. And to give an idea what that looks like, this is a thermal fuse. Yeah. I'm just not exactly sure yet where I'm going to place it. Yeah. But this is your thermal fuse. Ideally, what this should do is be mounted somewhere, like maybe here, you know, or here. Yeah. Might even use that as part of that. I'm not sure yet. But it will, if it senses that the bed is 125 C, it'll blow, and that kills the power. Now they're suggesting that the orientation for this be something about like up here, ideally. I don't know if that can be secured that way. I'm going to look into the options before finalizing it. Okay, so we need some M3-40. And I'm pretty confident I saw those. Hold on. Nope, they're not in there. They're over here then. There they are. M3-40. There's our M3-40s. We're going to get 3 of those. Boom. And M3, and this time they called it M3 washer, which is why I said about that aspect earlier, that I don't think a shim would class as a washer. Yeah. So that will go down through there. That worked perfectly and beautifully. Ideally, a person could have put these through before they put this on there, but if you ever need to take this out, then that would have made it almost impossible. This is why they put the bolts on the, the nuts on the bottom side here, because now it says we need 3 of the M3 nuts, which we will then place on here. That's that one. And then once I have this in place, I'll stop here and go spend some time with my lovely wife, because I've been now, I think, at this for over an hour and a half now. So she definitely needs some of my attention. I'm just going to check if, no. I wonder if they put those in there for that reason though. I think that's them. There they are, yep. M38 shimmering, yeah. And these are the 1mm ones, so I think that's going to be the ones we need. There we go. That's that one. There we go. Right, and with that, I believe in my little pug of possibles, I may have a wrench that I can tighten those down with. Yes, I have way too many tools. I was going to use a pair of pliers if I'm bluntly honest, but I thought, you know what, why do that? Let's just see. Nope. Wrong side. Nope. Oh, that's so close. That one I know is probably not going to be it. Yeah. Always going to be the weirdo. I think it's in my other little toolbox. But let me just double check. And hook this in. There it is. Oh, yeah. I'll just go back to my original plan. Just gonna go back under here. And I'm just gonna grab into this. I'm pretty sure that I have. There it is. Ta-da! Nope. Yep, that's it. Knew those would come in handy. That's that one. What you don't want is when you're turning the knobs to tighten or loosen the bed springs, you don't want these to turn. I also do not want to hit that silicone heater and damage it in any way. That's nice and tight. Yay. Nice little parametric toolbox. Well, that's what I call it. They just called it a parametric box that I found on Printables. If anybody wants links to those, just please pop it in the comments and I will get that. Okay. It's nice that I don't see, oh there they are. Okay, so the bed springs and the lovely thing. So bed springs I know are a separate section to this. So one, two, and finally three. And then in the next section of the video I will probably be doing the tool head, which would be the next step of this, I believe. Right, so with that being done, let me grab the springs, which I know are in this section of the kit box. There they are. Yep, and they're right there along with the lovely pieces for the tool head, which will be coming up next. So opening this up, there's our springs. Really lovely yellow heavy duty springs. Any of you that have ever had an Ender will recognize those springs. That looks very similar, except those are better quality and definitely a lot stronger. So with that, let's just go ahead and raise this up a bit. Get these springs on here. Now, they're saying that the guides for the wiring is supposed to go down through here for those that are curious. And that just was not very intelligent of me, because I wasn't keeping my finger on that. But fortunately, things cannot go far in here. So we're going to put spring, spring, and that's going to go like that. It's not going to be able to go far. There we go. This is going to go down like that. And there we go. And that's that. And then the rest of this ultimately will make its way down there's the thermistor wire. Carefully not to damage it. There we go. We'll have one of the bed power wires for now going down through there. That's that. And then this one, like I said, I'm still up in the air as to how I'm going to mount this, because it doesn't have a dedicated spot. I just need to do some watching of that other reference to see what they did differently, but we shall see. For now, I'm going to just put that back there like that out of the way, so that we can put these, yeah, and that actually goes on right nicely. Those are not really that bad. They're a little close, and I might change out the type. I'm not sure yet, but I think those will actually do quite nicely. I have a feeling I just put that one on upside down. Yep, sure did. Little raised section on one side of it is the side you would like to come there, so that the nubs are not flush against the bottom of your carriage. I've personally always thought that nylock nuts are a good solution for this, because bed leveling screws have a tendency over time to go a bit loose, but you can also lock them in place with a secondary nut if there's enough room on the end of your bed screw, which these seem to have a couple of millimeters or more on the bottom of each of them, so it shouldn't be too hard to put, you know, another one at the bottom and lock it down. Nearly there. Come on. I know I should probably keep turning this around, but I'm one of those people that I'm stubborn. Come on. Okay, guess what? I'm going to turn it around, because clearly I'm not reaching it just correctly. Oh, that's why. A little bit of plastic. And when I put the heat insert in, it pushed a little bit of the plastic out with it. So there you go. If you have that problem, you know what it is. There it is. I'm not going to overly really tension these at the moment, but anybody who's ever done the old bed screws will know what you do with the tramming on these. At least it's a 3-point leveling, so it's not too bad. And that's a pretty thick. That's at least 5 millimeters, that, maybe 6. There we go. And that's a nice little rock solid bed. Okay, and with that, I'm going to call it an evening. And obviously say goodnight. This way, there we go. Turn off the soldering iron. And that is that stage of the Voron 0.2 that I'm going to be completing today. And I'll be back during the next session to get into the next stage, which is going to be, I believe, doing some of the wire management for the heater, and the cable chain, you know, and getting it going, and then we'll be soldering. So we've kind of stopped at around page 152. So I hope everybody's been enjoying this, and we'll catch you on the next round. Okay, this is just a little update, because I went back to the other reference I have outside of the Voron build guide, which was the FYSETC installation video and build guides, and I found out where this is supposed to end up. So basically this goes through there, but we need one of the washers. Now they used the 0.5s, so we're going to put one of those of the 0.5 shim. There we go. And this is where you lock down the thermal fuse. Now, I assume this means you can probably put it on left or right, your choice. It's entirely up to you. I think this is probably the better because it puts it offset to that, where it's not being crunching as per se. So let's just do that, and let's get our Allen key. And this is basically, like I said, that safety feature where if your bed decides to go into thermal runaway and tries to go above 125°C, this will stop it from doing that. There we go. Let's just shift that just a wee little bit, just so that it's straight there. That's it. There. Don't want to over tighten it because it feels like it's made of ceramic, and you wouldn't want to crack that in half. Now on the other side, you want an M3 8mm button head screw. And the reason for this, these turn into the catch to align your print bed. Yeah, gives you a couple of little pegs that help you align your build sheet. Quite useful. And then just lock that right in and tight. Yeah. Okay. Now, what you want to try and do is get these wires down below by going through here. So while I'm going to do that one off camera so that when we return, this will all get hooked up during the next steps of the build guide. Okay? I hope you enjoy. Just a reminder, that's where it goes. That's an M4, that's an M3 14mm, and that's an M3 8mm. Okay? See you on the next bit. Okay, picking up where we left off. Need to grab some of the extrusions and preload 3 M3 nuts into the outer channels of each extrusion. This is page 127 of the build guide, and it says we need the B extrusions, which are these bad boys here. So I need 2 of these, and we need to put 3 nuts on the outside edges. So these will go here like that. There we go. And I can see why it needs preloading, because that'll close it off. Yeah, a bit of a cough today. I figure it's the tail end of that cold still trying to hang on. So again, apologies if I do. Definitely going to have to work on something that I can mute the microphone when needed be. Right. So that's 1. That's 2. Let me see if I can get this where you can actually see it. Because you can't quite see that other edge. There we go. I've got 2 on this side. One more. There we go. That's 3. And that sorts that. I think I'll do this the easier way. in this case. 1 and 3. Now, let's see if I can get those a little bit away from the edge. There we go. And that's in there like that. Next page. So we want M310s. That's these ones. And we want 1 on each end. Yep, so I've already removed the cam locks because I didn't want to have them fall out if I bumped it or moved it. And we need that end. Yeah, so it is front and back. So we'll need 4. And we get our Allen key for the M3s. These should be threaded, so it should get them to go in. Yep, there we go. That's 1. You just make sure that that is square. That feels flush. That's it. Looks nice and tight here, so that's good. And we have another one from the back side. But this one, I think I'm going to need to grab a hold of it from here to get it to align so that I don't drop it and have it go funny. There we go. That's it. And push that down. And center it. There we go. That's it. Make sure it's flush. And tighten that down. Right, now on to this one. Got that to align that in there. Yeah, I missed. There we go. And that's that one. That's that. And now this one. Okay. I can imagine that the CNC versions of these, where they have metal motor mounts, XY joints, you don't have much of printed parts other than maybe the tool head. I can imagine this is a little bit on the easier side. Just feel that. There we go. That's it. That's that one. That feels nice and good. Let's tighten that one. Yeah, that's nice and tight. I I know they say, you know, I should rest up and be perfectly well. Otherwise, other than this annoying cough and sniffly nose, I actually feel great today. Okay, so that's that. Now they're suggesting I should be able to put these back in here, so for now I am using these yellow ones. I am going to be changing those. I've got some of the black ones that I made with the Polylite Galaxy Black ABS that I think would accent that a lot nicer than doing it in the yellow. But hey, that's what it is. Okay, weird one. Okay, so we're at the next breaking point now. They're talking about wanting to do some belts. Okay, wow. Okay, totally did not expect to be doing this already. Page 132 shows us the belt path that it will take. Obviously from here, you know, up and around the idler, up and around the motor. And I believe, if I'm right, it goes around the back side, comes back, and back up. Yep. Okay, this should be fun. So let me move the heat set thing, but I know I'm going to need that. And my little thing of tools. Contrary to belief, you know, building your own printer from a kit, especially if you have to print your own parts, it is a very, not only challenging, but it's a very fun and knowledge learning thing. So we got our belts here, and these are 6mm toe-eye top. Actually, I think I've seen this particular brand out there. And it looks like they just basically give you enough to do the job you have to work out. So, to learn about the, yeah, and they have a link there if you want to follow it, you can do that. Okay, well that's lovely that they went with that. So I'm going to get this just kind of ready. So I'm guessing that page was more about getting this ready, because you're going to basically make 2 equal size belts, which I will come back to in a minute. Because now they're talking about the heat inserts and a couple of M3 nuts. Now, with this kit, you put the M3 nuts here and here, yeah, and the heat inserts go here and here. Now there's an interesting thing. I did find one of these on printables where you don't have to use these. You can actually use heat inserts on the front. I may actually do that as one of this kit's future upgrades. But in the meantime, time to get out the heated insert tool. Plug that in. Let it start heating up. There we go. That should only take a few moments to come up to temperature, surprisingly enough. But I now need to get the M3 brass inserts. And these are all small ones. They're like 4mm. So if you ever want to even source your own parts, you can probably find these in a number of places in that regard. I know that I think it was Vector 3D offers some of the CNC Kitchen branded ones. They're pretty much all the same. It is a heated insert, but they're based on use for printers, which predominantly, unless specified otherwise, will usually use shorter ones, so that they only have to go in so far. But if you have to sink them deep, you know, below the surface that you can, so like for extruders or stuff like that. Okay, and M3 nuts. I need 2 of them. And just as a, if anybody's looking at the PDF guide from Voron, this is page 133. So we're going to do this first. Let's drop that in there. And then there, that's that. There we go. Nice and in. Now, heated insert thing should now be there. Break off here, do that. If you're inserting hex switch through the hole in the back, if you're having difficulty inserting a hex wrench through the hole in the back can help break it loose. Okay, so don't need to worry about that just yet. But there's nothing that says I need to sink them in below so they're to come up flush with the top surface. So that's one. And there we go. Tell you what, this Mintian kit that I have, that I got, that gives you all the tips for your soldering iron, and in the US I believe they can also get a soldering iron as part of the kit, not just the tips and the adapter. It's definitely been a godsend. It makes this so much easier. Because the way I was doing it before, you end up with your soldering iron that you also use for soldering projects. You end up with a bit of solder on these. It can muck up the threads. You know, getting the proper heated insert kits or tools is probably something I would recommend to anybody that's going to look to build any printer kit, to be fair, not just a Voron. Okay, there's that. I'll keep that right there to hand. So, with that, let's see how hard this is to break out. They weren't kidding. Let's see if I can... There it goes. That's it. There we go. Nice little piece in place. And now that's our hot end mount ready to do its job. Now, let's see. Next page. I'll throw that in the bin in a little recycler bin I have. Okay, so I need to get out some things I saw earlier, and that's in this bag here, because it's like the odd things. Nope, that's not it. Where are they? There they are. M3 T-nuts. Now they're not the same as your normal T-nuts that you would find out there when people think of T-nuts. These are flat, so I assume they're made for the smaller extrusion like that. But at the same time, they're being used in this case. These are Maker Beam XL nuts, to be specific. And I need the M3 8mm flathead screws, which is these, which I only have a few. And I need 2 of them. It says leave the nuts loose. The belt is threaded into this part in the next step. So let's keep that in mind when putting this on there. There we go, there's 2 of them. And here's our 2, there we go, here's our 2 nuts. I'll put that over here to be put away. I always have a bad tendency to save bags, but that's how it is. Okay, so what they're saying is to get this through here, and the T-nut is going to go there, I'm wondering if there's like a printed equivalent that you could do and get away with if you can't easily source these, if you're trying to self-source, or if you want to use this style of print head on something else. So you never know. There we go. That's good enough. It's not going to go anywhere. And now the other one. Just line that up. Whoops. And there's me knocking one of the ones that I loaded in there. And the problem sometimes with step-by-step is that it doesn't exactly always prepare you for the, hey, you shouldn't have done that, and let things fall apart. There we go. That's perfect. I like that. Alright, let me just grab this little M3 nut and drop it back in here. That's it. There we go. Right. I suspect this is going to be something along the lines of that, or potentially like this. I just don't know yet. Right. Start making your equal length belts. Right, okay, so having both belts exactly the same length will ensure that you can set proper tension on it later. Starting at one end, line the two belts. Starting at one end, line the two belt runs together, meshing the teeth like a zipper. The other end will most likely be unequal. Well, you mean like this end? Anyway, so they're saying line them up like that, get them to mesh together, yeah? And this makes total sense, because this way you're not going to end up with one belt slightly longer than the other. I'm just going to take my time because I know how these rubber belts can be. That's it. And if you take your time on these and you don't just rush to do a mad build, you won't be going back over it later, having to worry about it. Now, and it says at the end you will need 1 meter of each, is basically how it works. So I'm going to assume they probably gave us just a little bit over 2 meters, probably to give a little bit of safety factor. These look like some halfway decent belts. They look very similar to my Palgi or my Gates belts as far as the look of how they are. They appear to have like a light fabric or rubber on the inside, which is good. It means it grips the rollers very nicely, and the pulley on the motor, which is kind of what you want. There we go. And that will be right there. Right, I'm going to do this with a blade so that I can maximize that meshing. This is not a completely overly sharp one. This is one that I've done things with already. So it's slightly dull, so I'm less likely to have it slip through and open my fingers up. There we go, that's it. And surprisingly enough, I got it bang on to it like that. It's perfectly even there, so very pleased with that. Now, let's get an idea whether or not that is 1 meter. I think, is this one long enough for me to check this? look at it because I can't remember if this one's long enough. Oop. Yeah, this is the problem with having a magnetic tool holder and a steel ruler. Yeah, so quite useful though. My lovely wife got me that last Christmas. So, yeah, a little over 30 centimeter. I'm going to go with the old to get me in the ballpark thing. I'm going to say it probably is, just looking at that, after that first measure. Oop. Hand slip. Right, where's my big one? There we go. Let's just go ahead. So we want 100 centimeters, basically. Just close that, there we go. So let's do it here. That gives me 45, so that's going to be awkward. I've got a ruler up here that you can't see that is 60 centimeter. So I can use that. So just need 2 runs of 50, basically. So make sure it is the right length. That's one. Yeah, there's a little bit over, you know, a meter, just a meter and about 20-30 millimeters. So each of these are definitely the right length now. So let's put that here. Next page, going on to page 136. So they would like me to get the A and B belts onto this, into that. Bring the tensioner knob to its most loosest point. That is as loose as it goes. Other way, Dale. Right. Throw that in there. So, according to them, A belt is on the bottom, B belt is on the top, and that goes flip over. And it comes down. They should have done like this on the regular stealth burner, if I'm bluntly honest. I remember the headache of getting the belts in the right spots and such when I built a stealth burner. There we go. Now, losing it again. Gotta remember to put my fingers on the top of that if ever I'm gonna lift it up like that to see what I'm doing. Okay, it didn't go through the little catch. There's a little slot in the middle here that's just wide enough for 2 lengths, you know, 2 thicknesses of a belt. And they're saying, let's see, thread the ends of the belts through the X-carry, so like so. A pick tool can be helpful here. Begin tightening the screw on one of the maker beam nuts. It is easiest to attach one end of each belt and then run them before running them through the printer. Okay. So let's get this one in here. Get under there. Yeah, that's definitely challenging, to say the least. Let's see if I loosen that just a hint. Just a little bit. There we go. Let's see if it'll go through. There we go. Okay. Now, just got to get that to go down through. And they're showing just a little bit through it, not a lot. That'll probably get done later when you're tightening this up before using the tensioners. And I'm just using little pair of those. Oh, wait, here we go. Forgot again. Put that. Yeah, they should definitely make some kind of retainer for that, but I can see why people were making ones that there we go. So about like that. I might just give it just a hint more, just so that I can grab onto it later. Yeah, about the same on each side. So you probably want about the equivalent of 2 knuckles sticking out, just a little bit, yeah. And of course, I go dropping stuff again. There it is. I'm going to do that in a second because I need my other hand. This one I can start tightening down. And that will hold that end of the belt. Let's see if I can get that a little more even. There we go. That's an OCD thing, I'm sure. Getting that to be perfectly straight up and down on that. There we go. Right. That's down in there now. Okay, so that is now where it needs to be. And the bottom be on the top. Let's look at the next page. Oops, there we go. Okay, so I was right as to the orientation. This will be like this, which is interesting enough as itself. We're going to do the A belt first, so that is going to go from there around the right hand side through the motor back around into the bottom of here. Yeah, and yeah, like tying your shoes but worse. Thread the A belt through the printer. The A belt sits below the B belt. The belt should only contact the smooth bearing surfaces as well as the pulley teeth on the motor. No part of the belt should be touching plastic. Okay. Right. Would have been nice if they had said, please put a couple of screws in the top of the thing. Just going to double check this to see if they haven't. Yeah, of course they haven't. They want you to drop those nuts out. Anyway, so this is interesting though. Very, very interesting. I think I'm going to do myself a favor and do something that they haven't said to do in the manual. Because I know me, I need 2 hands. Now those are 2mm. And I'm just going to check and jump ahead a bit, see which. Those are 6mm bolts. Okay. Okay, so M2 6mm. Right. So I'm going to need 4 of these anyway. That's the flathead ones. There we are. The one that has the most of them. So I'm going to get these 4 out now. And I'm just going to loosely fit 2 of them. Into that carriage piece. Just to hold it in place while I try and thread the belts. There we go. There's 2. And it'd be nice if I had 2 more. Just so I can do that next step. There we go. Yeah, these are slightly magnetic from sitting on my tool holder. Right, now let's put this up here, and just for the sake of doing, just going to put a couple of these at the rear. There we go, that's one. Let's get these smaller of these. Yeah, that holds it, but loosely. That's all we need. We just don't want this pulling around while I'm trying to do that. Or drop, you know, going funny and dropping those 2 nuts out somewhere. There we go. Right. So, belt path. Okay, so I want this belt. This is the bottom one. We want to come through here. If I should just use this. Yeah, they weren't kidding about the light tying your shoes, but worse. Alright, so let's pull that on through here. I'm actually surprised on this though, because I mean, if you can get, you know, toothed pulleys, I was always under the impression that, you know, and I've bounced this idea off many people in the community, that a toothed side of the belt should be against teeth and a smooth side should be against smooth. But these always seem to go against that in some cases. Now, this is going to be the fun one. So this will come in here. It will go around. Oh, that makes that so easy. Sort of. Yeah, that's better. Now that will go back out. But it will go out that way. Check that. Comes in there, goes out on under the corner. Yes. So let me just try and keep pushing that. And I should ideally see it come out. somewhere. Gotcha. Okay. Now, so that I'm not spinning that motor, even though that motor is not really connected to anything. But I can say it also tests whether or not it is gripping that very well. And I would definitely say that it is. Now, let's see how that looks there. Nice and smooth, yeah. Okay, now that comes where? Yeah, that comes around the bottom. Through here. And then that will end up going through here into the bottom side of that and coming out the bottom. So I can now probably think seriously about just taking these darn nuts out, because I can see where this might get messy. So I'll put that there. I'm just going to get my little stack of mini magnets. See if I can grab that nut with it. Oh, non-magnetic nut for the most part. Okay. Let's just do like this then. There we go. Just put that there. This way I don't lose these. I think I said this the other day, it's alright, but you know, I'd rather not lose them and have to find another one in my stash. There we go. And there's our second one. There we go. So that's that. Put those magnets away. Right, now put this is interesting though. I would not have expected that to see that's no longer on that side, but there we go, that's the way it's supposed to be. Okay, let's loosen that one up a little bit, just a hint, push it in. Yeah, this is definitely a lot harder than a normal stealth burner tool head for threading the belts, because at least with that you can put a little tool on the carriage bar and get it to go. Right, nearly there. Let's see if I have that side through. Well, that's that side. I still haven't got this side through. See if I can just push that through. Nope. It's getting there. But it's not quite as far as I would like it through that. Okay, why have you not gone down through? I mean, the two belts are obviously hitting on the smooth side of each. So they're not fighting each other in that regard. Almost makes me wonder if you should not put this in that early, these T-nuts. Put them in a little later. That feels like I might have finally got it. Yes, so we now have two lovely pieces of belt. And I think I'm going to grab that little set of pliers and just pull that the rest of the way through carefully. There we go. That's it. They're probably going to have me pull this up tight later anyway. So with that, I'll go ahead and start doing the next belt. Now, this is the B belt. So, I'm just going to make sure I did get that right. Yes, I did. The B belt is a totally opposite direction. So the B belt, what? That's a bit confusing with the way they did that image. Oh, I see. Yeah, it's just perspective. Okay, so B belt goes straight out the side and out the back. Okay. There we go. And this will just get this over here out of the way. So let's make sure I'm on the right correct side of the belt. So this now will go out the back, which now grabs that roller, and here's my upper roller, which will bring this around to the B motor. Dave Yee, if you're watching this, I hope you're remembering that day you asked, which order the belt should be, is A on the right, B on the right, so forth. So just to recap that old ground, A, B, yeah. So A, it's all right, it's on the right. B, left, yeah. That'll help you with maybe remembering it. And yes, I did just come up with that memory jogger. Now that is going very nicely through that, and I need that to come out the other side on the front. Let's just get that little bad boy down, and it should start sticking up. There it is. Gotcha. Okay, now I can start pulling that tight. That's the funny part. When they said to start the belts through their different paths, they said nothing about initial how much slack to pull. So I just kind of gave it very tiny little bits to start with. And I suspect that's going to change very quickly. Now this one comes up top high. I think I just got this in the wrong spot. I think this needs to come through here. Yes, it does. Now something in the back of my head says I need to check something under here, because that, I don't think that should be rolling, but I could be wrong. And I hope I'm wrong. Let me just feel that. Yeah, no, I'm wrong. Okay, fair enough. Right. There we go. And now this belt will go through this side and go out the front. Yeah. There we go. Let's see if I can do it any quicker this time, because that took me way too long the first time. Yeah, I can feel belt on the front side now. Okay, now with that in mind, since I now have my fingers here where I can do stuff with it, I'm going to loosen both of these slightly. So that I can pull them out equally. And get them at the same equal distance, because you will actually end up cutting these off, and I do not want to have them uneven. That's better. Nice and even with each other. Let me just get one more little, no, there we go. So that's that, and then get a hold of these, put that through. That's that one. That's that one. That needs one more little bump to be even with that. There we go. So now I can pull some initial tension on these to help with the overall. And just take your time, you're not in a race. Let's see if we can get the other one out that same distance. Because there's just enough tension on those T-nuts to bring them up together. And you would almost expect that this should ultimately give you roughly the same distance on both. This does not appear to be the case. There we go. A little bit more on that one. It almost feels like one belt is smaller than the other in a way. But no, that's wrong. No, that's definitely wrong. That can't be right. That cannot possibly be right. That cannot possibly be that way. Or can it? Let's have a look on that side. So, I failed to do the idler, like an idiot. There we are. Failed to come up to the idler. That's why it was looking funny. Got too much in a hurry. I thought that was going to be odd, but that, you know, one set would be a little bit longer than the other. I'm like, no way. So let's pull that back a little bit until it's about the same as those. Man, I feel dumb now. There we go. And you would think any other day of the week, if I'm doing this on my own projects and not trying to demonstrate it to others, I've done these belt runs even on Frank, who's off in the background over here to my left, enough times that I should know that, and I should know that belt path, like in my sleep kind of thing. But I think it's because I'm trying to concentrate on saying what I'm doing, and it kind of throws me off a little bit. There we go. That's more like it. That feels a lot more like what it should do. Right, let's try this again. So this up under here. And now that I can see what I'm doing. Nearly there. Just a little bit more and I can grab it. That's it. There we go. Okay. Now we have a little bit of belt there that I can pull on. Let's get that piece up even with this one. Go. Get this underneath. That's it. Securing the belts, yes. Let's just read this here. Once you've run each of the belts, you can thread the loose ends through the X carriage and begin to pull them tight. We started with equal length belts, so you can ensure equal tightness by counting the number of teeth showing on each free end. Snug up the second maker beam nut. See, I like it better like this, where I have two pieces. Not where I'm cutting off the end of a belt. Do not trim the belts to final length. We will continue the belt tightening with the tension knobs after the part is mounted. Okay, so if I can get this like so and give that a tug, and give that a tug, it says I can now start to tighten these two little nuts on the front, and as you can see, they're roughly the same distance. Which is good. This way there's definitely no waste of the belt. I mean, not like belt is expensive, but if you get, you know, like Gates belts, you know, proper branded Gates belts, those are not so cheap, and so you don't want to waste any of it if you're building your own. But these seem to be pretty good as it is. Okay. Let's see how that feels. Yeah, a little bit of thing. Let's just feel that. Yeah, that's in there where it should be. Weird seeing the outside of the belts on everything, because mine takes a different way of doing it on Frank, and it's like you don't see this side of the belt, you know, the tooth side on the outside, so it's a bit different for me. Actually quite finding this interesting. I might have to think about this and finally bring, because I have been planning on bringing Frank's motors to the inside of the frame, maybe looking at something, a similar type of kinematic system where the motors are like here, and so that I can finally panel off the back. But we'll see what happens. That's it. That's that one. And then one back here. Only finger tight for the moment. Now, they're saying you should probably use some kind of Loctite on this because you don't want it to come loose. I sadly don't have any, but when it comes time to do any maintenance, I'll probably pull these out and put a little bit of super glue, just like a half a drop. Doesn't take a lot to do this aspect. The other thought I had was, you know, potentially a bit of hot glue, which is also doable. There we go. That feels nice and tight. There we go. It's those two. Kind of do it like a wheel nut, as I do, and go diagonal on it. They're a crisscross tightening pattern. This way you're not overly causing any mechanical stresses to build up in between them like that. Right. Yeah, that's got some grip. There we go. Okay, that is our carriage. Next page. So, they're saying that you can, now this is going to be the interesting part, because they're saying you can use a tuning app on your smartphone to measure the frequency of the belts when the gantry is in a fixed location, move the x-axis all the way to the rear, and pluck the indicated belts. We are looking for 110 Hertz in these locations. This should ensure that your tension is correct. If you need to rerun the belts because you cannot get the proper tension with the available knob travel, you can loosen the front idlers from the frame to gain plenty of extra slack to rebuild the machine. Okay. I'm not entirely confident with that. Now, equal belt tension is important to proper function to correct fly motion systems. Even slight differences in belt tension will result in skewed motion. Use small size to pack the plane. Okay, so once they're equal, trim the belts to their final lengths, you know, and so forth. So, and then that's our literal stopping point other than the next steps. So, what I'm going to do, I do actually have one of these apps that will do that concept. I'm going to give this a little bit of a go. This is our A, and you can kind of feel it when it's pulling. It's not touching the plastic though. Just very close. And you can see as I'm turning it that those are moving. That's about all the tension gap that you have to work with. I'm just going to see. Let's just go ahead and move that all the way back. Yeah, I can just about hear that. So, turn this one this way. Let's see if I can get that in this shot. So we're just turning this one in hopes that we'll get similar. And I have a lot of fan noise in here, so it's not going to make that easy. because I'm also recording this video with my phone. That makes it even more interestingly hard. Let's see here. Okay. I can get rid of these back into their slot. Come on, get in there. There we go. Let's just have a listen over here. And there's our other little tool, which I'll move out of the way. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this and I am going to check it, just to be safe.